Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and thanks for joining us on this pre-season prep webinar. Obviously, most of you will be well underway with your pre-season prep as the season's due to start in a week or so. So this is just sort of a final whiz through of things to help you guys make sure that you're all set for the season coming. So things that we're going to cover today is essentially registering your new members, managing online payments. We'll cover the ECB Play Cricket integration that we've got. Additionally, we'll look into the mobile apps as well. So like I say, it's going to be sort of a quick fire go through of all things, bit of a checklist for you guys, make sure all things are in order. And as always, there's going to be various stops along the way to answer any questions. So any you've got, feel free to just ping them in the Q&A box. So what's changed since last season? If you're on any of the previous webinars, you may have seen this. If not, there's a brief recap here. So there is an additional areas that can be posted to social media accounts. So obviously those social media accounts have to be linked, and that is only Facebook and Twitter. But you can now additionally publish match reports, photo albums, and club events, plus a few other things as well. We made some safeguarding changes to essentially provide registered parents with visibility of messages sent to their children. And then the other things that have been included are there's capacity limits on ticket and tour products. Some of you may have come across that as setting up products for the season. And ones that have come in the last sort of week or so are managing cards and subscriptions. So essentially members will be able to manage the cards, remove cards if they want to, again, manage their subscriptions within their account. And we are also looking to release the Flutter Club app. So that's been rolled out to Android, and we are looking to roll that out on iOS today, I believe. So that's something that's coming, not wholesale change in terms of what you guys will see, but hopefully the sort of feel and just general use of it will become much better for you. So as always, how can you get in contact with us? So there's an option to book a demo, which would be with myself, or you can always contact the support team, which is support@pitchero.com. You can see the links at the top of the screen there. So here's a little sort of step-by-step checklist. Again, sort of the things we'll cover. So updating access for your admins, adding a new season in, migrating your players, coaches, and team admins up and down. Sorry, up age groups, not down age groups. You'll be connecting to a league competition, so obviously connecting to the competition, everything will then pull through from Play Cricket. Updating team homepages, updating/tweaking your registration forms, inviting any new members you may have. And then there's just general sort of maintenance of updating your news, setting up new membership products, requesting those payments, setting up your match fees if you haven't already, or just updating the pricing if you need to. And then additionally, adding/updating any new sponsors. So updating admin access, it's done basically to make sure all coaches, new and old, and club officials have the relevant access. Simply put, we will always say the best websites are those that share the responsibility. So not someone that's sort of doing everything for the club, because that just becomes tedious and hard work. So if you've got sort of 30+ admins, that's very common and sort of quite good practice. 2 or 3 admins for a team. Obviously then you can have 1 full primary webmaster, and we advise sort of 4 to 5 full webmasters. However, you can have more than that if you feel it's needed. Again, adding new seasons, nice and simple. You create a new season, team-specific content will be collected and published by season. So essentially, like anything for the under-15s from the previous season will be held in the archive for the under-15s under the name of the season that you've given. So that's nice and simple. Again, migrating players, moving players and coaches to the next age group, and then sort of doing a bit of a cull, removing anyone that may no longer play for that age group or just the club in general. One thing to note is we do say and advise that you don't rename the age groups, and you do follow the process of actually migrating players up through the age groups rather than just changing a team's name. Connecting to Play Cricket / your league. So Pitchero integrates directly with the Play Cricket system. Like I say, fixtures, result, league table, scorecards pull through. They're automatically updated. So any changes to a fixture will then get pulled through. That is then what I've just listed in terms of results, scorecards, the league table, will then pull through as well, in addition to cancellations, change of dates, etc. So there's no more adding individual fixtures or uploading spreadsheets. All you do for the connecting of it, which we'll cover, is just search for your competition and connect to the correct team. And then, as it says here, it saves you hours of time. So on the team pages, it's always worth giving your coaches / admins of those teams a nudge just to sort of get those updated, as it may have potential contact information for the previous year's admins. Always worth putting things like training times and contacts in that information. Information for new players, sort of keep it team specific. Also, if you have a bit of a welcome note from the coach, it's always good to have, and a team photo always makes it look that little bit better rather than just a blank page or a picture of a cricket ball or a cricket bat. It just makes things look a little bit more well put together. So obviously you've then got an online registration form. Most of you guys will probably have already done all this stuff, but it's a case of obviously capturing all that information that you need for members, having it online, being able to access it through the manager app, and just making sure everything's sort of up to date. So it's always worth checking the fields that you've got, remove any unnecessary fields that you may have, and then obviously add any new ones that you may need to in. You can also then test the sign up process in terms of going into your account, seeing what the form looks like under the membership info. And then you can email all members requesting that they check and update their personal information. So hopefully you'll have a nice sort of clean, fresh set of information for all members. You've then got the different ways of inviting players / parents, members in general. So you can use the invite tool. You can upload their email address, send them an invite through the membership database. That sends them a prompt out. You can post news items on the website, sort of getting people to come through to the website, hopefully going through the join process and signing up. Or you can post news items on social media with a link to the registration. So that's always a good way nowadays to sort of get more eyes on it, potentially get a friend of a friend to sign up that wouldn't normally have, things of that nature. And then you can always ask all club and team officials to share the registration link in various group chats they've got in Pitchero, externally on WhatsApp, etc. like that. Also ping out an email to all members that they have. And then updating news. So we've covered this again in a previous webinar, but 12 sort of little articles that you could include are things just like new season, what to expect from it, recap of preseason training, any new players you've got, the league fixtures being announced, who you've got in your first 5 games for all your teams, online registration being live, membership fees being live, anything to sort of promote new members being welcome, because obviously a recruitment drive is always handy for clubs to have. And if you can post it through your website and then on social media, that's always a big help. Any new sponsors you got, worth giving them a bit of visibility. Same with if you've got team kit. I know a lot of cricket players love the thought of getting sort of new stash. So things of that nature, great to put on. Also ones that are sort of more club specific in terms of volunteers required. What can people look to volunteer? And then you could have like a potential list of how they can look to do so, whether it's coaching, helping out behind the bar, any relevant skills they may have in terms of the setup of the new season, given the change rooms of liquor paint, things of that nature. And then also an introduction to the committee / coaching team for the new season, any team officials, new captains you may have, that's a good one to put out. And then generally just a thank you to volunteers as well, as it's always appreciated by members and the volunteers themselves. So again, in here we've got membership payments. You guys will all have sort of probably set this up at this point with the season starting in the next couple of weeks. So the way that it works is you connect to the club's bank accounts, you create a product, whether it's your annual membership, you can choose, you can set up different variants within a product. So you can have it as an annual recurring payment, monthly recurring, you can have it as a one-off payment, things of that nature. So it's nice and easy. You can have payment plans for your members. You can then assign the product to your members. That allows you to track every payment, see who the non-payers are, and then hopefully get 100% of the membership collected for the season. So that's nice and simple. We'll run through it as we go into the demo side of it. So match fees, it's a relatively new feature, and it's something we always get great feedback on. So you can collect it on the match day via the mobile app. So you can do it on the manager app. Your captains just literally do the team selection, ping out the then pull through team selection to the match fees, then ping out the assignments to the members. Members will then make the payment, and then hopefully by the end of the day, you'll have a full 11 that have paid, and no further sort of work is needed by the admins and captains. You can then receive the payments in minutes. Again, track every payment, non-payers, etc. So, like I say, we'll cover that as well as we go into the demo side of it. And then the last one we got here is club sponsors. So you can obviously remove all the old sponsors, as you may have sort of a clean slate for the new season, and then go through, add your new sponsors in, make sure you've got a high quality image, because none of your sponsors who are paying for things want sort of like a grainy, horrible image sitting there as sort of like the representation of them on your website. Make sure there's a tracking link, so that just include that, and then in a description include sort of the content, what they're doing for the club, what they do as a company, things of that nature. So like we say, you can obviously promote sponsors with news items, include an image or a video interview that you may have had with the sponsor, sort of why they're looking forward to getting involved with the club this season, etc. And then you can also send an email introducing new sponsors, including an offer or voucher they may have for the members, as that's something that members will always enjoy. Just double check. So yeah, we've got the apps here, but we'll come back to these as we go through it. So we'll just sort of run through a bit of a demo on the website, and then from there we'll get things moving. Once I've run through things, any questions you've got, put them in the Q&A section. We'll cover that, and then once we've done that, we'll move on to the apps. So to start things off, we'll cover the managing access. So that's always a thing to get started as the season goes. So you can go into settings down here, access control, and then manage access. And then from there, once that loads, you can see a list of the last season's admins. So full access is webmaster, and then obviously as a webmaster, you can actually tailor what they see. And then team admin access, you've got a limited scope already, so you can see the list of names there. If you want to remove anyone, you can just remove them. A webmaster here. If you wanted to remove a team admin, you would do so on the membership database. But if you wanted to add access, you can go add access, webmaster or team admin, and then you literally just search for the member from there. Nice and simple to update that. And then you've got a clean slate, making sure everyone's got the access they require going forward. Whilst we're on settings, if you need to add the new season and you haven't done so already, you can just go down to seasons at the bottom. And then, as you can see here, 2023 season set up. But what you do if it's not, is you literally just go add season in the top right, give it a name, start date, end date. For cricket, it's always worth just doing something like the 1st of Jan to the 31st of December that year. Keep it nice and simple, as it doesn't overlap into the following year. So that's a nice, easy one to do. Hit save down there, and jobs are good and all added in. So the sort of next steps are the migration of members up and down age groups. So the way to do it is always start at the top, work your way down. So start with the highest age group you've got, obviously under 18s, move them up to, let's say, the senior teams. That creates a free space. You can then push your 17s up, 16s, etc., etc. So the way you do it is you'd run your role filters here. So you'd remove all them. We're going to go, we just want players, parents, and coaches. And we're going to say for this one, we just want them of the men's first team. And then what you do is you go into edit roles here. Sorry, no, you don't. You select them all first. And then you go edit roles. And then as you can see, what shows up here. So we're going to remove a role of player from the first team, hit OK. And then we're going to go add role of player to the second team. Obviously, this is done in terms of if you've just ran the filter for just players, you then do it by player. If you then run the filter for the parents for that team, you then do the exact same process of remove the role for parent, add the role, remove the role of parent for the first team, add the role of parent for etc., etc. You can do it that way, same with coaches, etc., etc. Nice and simple to do. Hit save, and then it will go through. Unlike that's just done, but nice and easy for you to do. So that's how you do that one. And then from there, you can then make sure you've got the relevant sort of teams and doing all the relevant tracking on there. So if we go into like the men's first 11 here, you can then start to do the various team admin that you need to. So the thing to start with is obviously connected to a competition. So you go into manage competitions here, and then you've got the join competition button in the top right. Once you click onto this, you should then get suggested the leagues that you'll be in based off your team name, club name, team name, etc. But in this case, we'll just go to the Cheshire County League. We'll select the first 11 Prem, and then you can see a list of the teams here, and then you just press connect to one of them, and then that will then pull through all the fixtures. So I'll just do that so you can actually see what it looks like before removing them. So I've done it to the Cheadle one here. If we then just go back to fixtures and results, what you'll then be able to see down here as we scroll down is all the fixtures then pulled through, and that allows you to do your fixture management from there. So I'm just going to go back a step and actually remove those. Lovely stuff. So that's all nice and simple to do. Connect to a competition. Obviously, the sort of next thing you can do, like I said, going through the slides, is your team homepage. So that's obviously just under homepage. You've got the page title, the page content that you can put in, and then a team photo if you want to. You can have the names of the players listed in the photo as well. It's sort of just a nice thing to include. Make sure you've got a bit of content about the team, so any sort of new members maybe looking into the club can see what the club's about, what the teams are about, and then any existing members also get a nice feel for on the website. So moving on from that, it's then on to creating your sort of membership forms. So membership forms sit under fields. So if we click into fields here, what you'll see is some nice black ones up at the top there. So these 5 at the top are just the box standard Pitchero ones, and then they'll get added onto a member's account when they sort of go through the process of signing up to Pitchero and request to join the club. That'll then pass through to the club. These blue ones, they are more club specific, so they're your custom fields, what you guys create. So in the top right here, you hit add field. I won't go through that process. I'll just click into this medical conditions one so you can actually see one in work. What you then do is you select what fields this applies to. So obviously players, parents, coaches here. If you wanted it to apply to your team admins and weapon masters as well, you can do. You just give it a name, short name, and then a brief description if needs be. You've got the options here of the type of field. So that's essentially the type of field they can use to answer. So you've got a single line of text, a paragraph, drop-down menu, or radio buttons. So your radio buttons are like yes, no answers, little selections like this. And then you can choose if the field's mandatory. Nice and simple, hit save. It will then show on the relevant members' records, depending on what role they've got. So if whatever's essentially ticked as a player, those questions will then show up on the player's info, sit next to the player on the membership database, and then you can then see that information obviously on the membership database as well as through the manager app. So if we go into the membership database now, so you can see a list of all the information here for these sort of dummy accounts, and then you've got all the filters you can run to see various types of information. And then in terms of actually adding new members, so what you'd need in here, if you're adding a player, you could go into add, choose the role, player. We're going to say this is a player of the first team. Actually, no, we won't. We'll say player of the under 17s and remove that first team one. Then you hit next. For this, I'm just going to put it's Will Moore, date of birth. It's going to be 010101. And then if you want to put an email in for them, if it's relevant, you can do. If they're just going to be a player, then they don't need an email. You can then connect the parent to their account. Obviously, if they're a youth player, that then allows the parent to control things, do the schedule, etc. Any payments that need to be made on behalf of the child. You can just tick that, hit add member. However, if you wanted to invite someone, you would then put an email address in here. Again, hit add member, and then it'll add them in. From there, if we just use Jeannie as the example, you can then highlight that person, hit invite here, and then it'll come up with invite members. It allows you to put a bit of a custom message. You can then hit preview. It'll take you through so you can see what that actually looks like, and then you can send the invite from there. That'll then ping them through an email, and it'll have that nice big green button to say join the whatever your club name is website. They click through that, takes them through the joining process. So nice and simple. The other options you've got are through the manager app, and again, we'll cover that as we get onto the manager app. So the next thing we're going to move on to is the payment side of things. So obviously you need to have an account set up with GoCardless or Stripe to be able to use shopping payments / match fees. So shopping payments, you can use GoCardless or Stripe. Match fees is Stripe only currently. So when you're creating a product, we'll just go through it step by step here, so you can see the process of it. But it is nice and simple when this wants to load. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new product. We're going to put it as membership as the category. We're going to skip over that video because we don't need it. So does your product have different pricing structure? We're going to say yes, because it's going to include seniors, juniors, students, social members, etc. And then do you want your members to have more than one way to pay for the product? So this is obviously including like a one-off annual payment, monthly installments, quarterly installments, etc. So you can sort of give a one-off payment and then payment plans if needs be, as I know a lot of clubs are actually looking to do that this year. So we're just going to call it webinar 23, and then the first one's going to be senior annual. So that's just going to be for an individual. It's going to be a one-off payment of 200 quid. And then we're going to say, yeah, we want to add another option. And then we're going to go senior monthly. Next, individual again. So it's going to be an installment monthly. Total cost is £200. And then if you want to include an initial payment, you can do. So you just tick it and then put how much you want the initial payment to be. And then obviously if it's, let's say 30 quid, it then drops the sort of amount for the installment payments down to 170, and then it'll be like £17 over 10 months, by example. But I'm not going to take that for now. Just going to go into here, see what it's actually divisible by, and then we're going to go £20 over 10 months. Nice and simple. We're going to collect it on the date that it's been purchased, and then our next one's going to be senior per quarter. And then it's going to be an installment again. We're going to go custom every 3 months. And then again, it's going to be 200 quid. But it's going to be 4 installments, 50 quid. And then next, and then we're going to do on date purchased. And then that's nice and simple from there. You can hit next, choose your payment provider that you want to use. I'm going to go Stripe in this case. If you want to add a description, you can do. Same again with an image to make it look nice, whether it's just like the club crest or something like that. And then you've got the option here to have it as unavailable to purchase. Only assigned members can purchase and all members can purchase. So it's up to you what you choose. You can change the status of these at any point. So in this instance, I'm going to go all members can purchase. And then you've got the last option here is to include this on the product. Sorry, include this product on the Club Shop Daily Report. What that essentially means is any webmasters with access to shopping payments will get an email with a bit of a breakdown of what's been purchased that day. So it's, I know some clubs sort of have it on for the first couple of months of their membership, just to make sure everyone's getting sort of visibility of what's coming through. And then from there, they untick it as 90% of their members have paid, and it's sort of just a process of monitoring it. So that's an option you can have. We're going to hit create my product here. It's going to take us to a nice blank canvas where we can assign our members. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and assign our members. You can run filters by roles, by team, by group. So you can have the players only for the men's first team, by example, and then just select them all here. We're going to create those 100 assignments. What you will then see is everyone will show up here in red as not paid. You can then push out requests for the payments as well if you want. So once you've assigned it to the member, that will then go through and give them a push notification that they've had that product assigned to them and need to purchase it. If you then want to request it at a later date or just the same time, you can send out another one as well. Obviously, you won't get these messages because this is just a dummy account. But if we hit send, that'll then send the prompt through. What will then happen is hopefully a load of these start to turn green within the first couple of hours of you sending it out. However, if you had a training session or a sign up night and someone said, here's 200 quid for my annual subs, you can actually mark it as a manual payment. So you just go to the 3 little dots on the right here, hit add a manual payment. It takes through to this page. You choose the product variant that it is, the price that they've actually paid, and then you put cash, bank transfer, check, little note if you want to, and then obviously it's the paid by up there. You hit add, and then that will turn a nice green color and show as paid. And then what we'll do is we'll just go not that far back. We'll go to here, and then you can see the members showing as paid. And then obviously you can run reports on this. You can filter it down so you can get a team by team breakdown, run exports on it if you want to. And then also you've got the transaction reporting for when things have actually been paid for. You can run exports on that as well and do with it as and when you need to. So now we've shown that, again, match fees, most of you will probably have it set up, but if you haven't, then it's a case of obviously creating a product from fresh, like we just have in terms of the shop and payments product. It's a slightly different setup. However, it's in terms of the initial process, creating the variants and stuff is very similar. So what we will do is we'll create one. All teams have been assigned to them, so it's not going to allow us typically. But what we are going to do in this instance then is we'll just click into this top match fee, senior match fees, and then if I go into info, you can see the different breakdown. So you can create the product as we just did in the shop and payments, similar process. You give it a name. Stripe's obviously the payment provider for this one, and then you give it the different variants. So here we've got starter, student, driver. So in cricket you could have like senior, junior, student, driver, umpired, something like that, and have all the different fees that you need. From there, obviously when you're doing match fees, it sort of tethers off the manager app, so we'll cover that in terms of assigning them. But once you've done the assignments, if I just go back to the dashboard here, you'll see a breakdown of various different things and the reporting that you get. So you've got fixture by fixture. You can see the total assignments on that fixture, the percentage paid, the outstanding revenue, the revenue collected. So you can go into a fixture report there, or you can go into a player report. So the player report is very handy. You can actually see who the problem players are, and then you can filter via various things. So if I just click on the filters here, it'll then give you the various different things you want. So you can filter it from a specific date. So if you want like just a month, the past month's breakdown, you can do so. Filter it by the teams that you want to. And again, you can filter via percent. So anything that's less than, let's say 85%, you can run a filter on. Hit apply, that'll then give you a list of names. You can see all those and then sort of just pinpoint who your problem payers are and then sort of address what you need to going forward with them. And then again, we've also got the transaction reporting. Similarly to the shop and payments transaction reporting, it's just a breakdown of all things that have been paid. So that's the nice looking report that you can run in terms of what the money you'll be receiving rather than the money that you're chasing. So on this, the last thing to mention is the site content stuff. So obviously you can create news articles, events, photo albums, videos, add your sponsors and stuff in. So I won't cover that all in too much detail because you've probably all got it sorted. But if anyone does actually want to see me cover part of this, just drop a question in the Q&A box and we can do so. But what I'll do now is, as we're on this, we'll just give it a sort of minute or so. Any questions you've got about the admin dashboard, product setups, and things of that nature, just drop it in there, answer them, and then we'll move on to the Pitchero Manager and Club apps. Right, so we've had a few questions come in here, so I'll just go through them one by one. Jonathan's asked, if there is time, could you possibly say something about how the link, how to link Pitchero to play cricket, please? Yeah, so we did cover that. I don't know whether it's been missed, but essentially the way you do it is you go into the teams, you can then go into the relevant team, first team, connect to a competition. That will then allow you to pull through all the fixtures, and then anything that changes on a fixture will then also pull through. So that's the change in the date, whether it's the result that's actually gone on. If the result's then gone on, that'll pull through within 24 hours along with the scorecard. So you get all that coming through. So hopefully that answers that for you, Jonathan. Jamie has asked, who is best to open a Stripe account? Do they have to have access to the club bank account or just be a committee member? It's up to you guys. Obviously we'd say it's best if someone's got access to the club bank account to open it, but it can be anybody that can open it, to be honest with you. Someone has asked, is there going to be a live basket in the shop at some stage rather than to check out single items at a time? It's something that we're looking into. We don't have a timescale or anything on that yet, but we're looking into the potential possibility of it. So it's a potential sort of watch this space on that one rather than anything firm. David has asked, how do you edit from the dashboard the sections across the very top of the website? We have out-of-date sections currently, but I don't know how to access in order to update. So what is it exactly that you're looking to update, David? Is it the header? So if you just have a look at my screen here, I've opened up a new tab. That's the wrong one. Let me just pull this out of the way. We're going to here. Is it these that show across the top here above the club name? If you could just confirm that, David, then I'll be able to answer that better for you. Helen has asked, which way around is Play Cricket integration? I've seen that I've put fixtures onto Play Cricket and a day later it's on Pitchero, but does it work the other way around too? No, it doesn't. It's purely Play Cricket to Pitchero. There's nothing that goes Pitchero to Play Cricket. So hopefully that answers the question. Also, you said I'm struggling with uploading team photos. So if with the team photos, Helen, if you can just contact support. So that's support@pitchero.com. They'll be able to help you with that. Christy has asked, is there a way to change the terminology for team selection from subs to reserves? No, there's not, I'm afraid. In terms of the selection, no. In terms of match fees, you can name them whatever you want. Ed has asked, some people have already paid for membership. How do I send a communication note to all those that haven't paid yet? So there's no way to do it directly, Ed. The best way to do it is just send a payment request, send them a prompt again. They'll then get a message to say they've been requested to purchase a product. They'll also get a push notification and an email will be sent as a follow-up. But if you want to send something specific, it'd be a case of finding the names, and then going through and creating messages for them. You could create potentially a custom membership group of them people that haven't paid. That way you can then group them into a chat a conversation on Pitchero, and then potentially from there just slowly start to remove people from the group as and when they've paid. But yeah, my suggestion would be send them the prompt, again, request the payment, and then if needs be, follow up with any sort of additional messaging that you want to. David, I'm not going to be able to look into the website. So if you can just get in touch with the support team, support@pitchero.com, then they'll be able to assist with that, as I'm not going to be able to cover stuff like that on here. Jackie is asked, communications via email and not being received by some that show are registered. Is this a common problem? Also, how can we get members that are showing not registered to register? You just have to send them the prompts again if they're not registered. Get in touch with them, give them the sort of push that's needed. In terms of the communications, I'm not 100% sure on that, Jackie. You'll have to get in touch with the support team so they can assist on that. Right, we'll jump back into the slides just to quickly cover a little bit of content on the apps. So as you can see here, there's a variety of screenshots as to what you can actually get from the app. So it's available for free on iOS and Android. The sort of key features of the Manager app is the match center, so add fixtures, edit fixture info, view results and more. The player availability and team selection, so prompt players for availability, choose your 11s, publish your teams, then see who's confirm their selection, things of that nature. And then you can also manage training player attendance, so create training groups, view training availability, mark the attendance as you're going through. Again, we'll cover this, but yeah, nice and simple with them. Other stuff is automated social media updates, so you can share key match events in real time. That's less sort of relevant for cricket, as the scores and events is more for rugby, football, etc. As cricket is done through the Play Cricket side of things and then pulled through to Pitchero. And then obviously the big one is collecting match fees. So prompt players for a specific fee and then track the payers, non-payers. And then the Pitchero Club app. So sort of some screenshots, a little GIF that we've created in terms of a prompt being sent, clicking onto it, taking it through to the schedule, and then being able to set your availability for it. I'll just let that play through quickly on there. So obviously that is me responding to a selection. So the key features are obviously the schedule, which I just mentioned. So you can view your fixtures, your training, you can set your availability, respond to team selections within there. If you're a parent, you can then also manage your child as well, manage your payments on the go. In terms of you'll get a prompt, you can then just go through your app and pay. Nice and simple, instead of sort of having to go home, write out a check, hand it to a treasurer, etc., etc. And then another one is receiving club updates on the go. So that is, again, your news articles, match reports, events, photo albums, all that stuff. You can receive that on the go, keep up to date with all things good and fresh at the club. And then again, you can view results. So you can view match results and scorecards in the app. And then that you've got sort of like a nice hub of everything showing there. So we'll jump into the demo, but something to note here is you've got the apps to download not the apps, we've got the QR codes to download the apps. So this is one for the club app, and then on the right hand side, this is one for the Manager app. So if you feel that's needed, then you can get in touch with me and we can send them over to you. And then you can maybe get them sort of passed around different managers and stuff. So if anyone says they don't know how to get it, your managers can just whip up the sort of a photo of it, people can scan it, and then it takes them directly to the relevant app store to download it from there. So I'm just going to change it over to my phone screen. So if someone could do me a really big favor and let me know if you can just see that, that would be brilliant, and then we'll get things going. Lovely, cheers, Ed. Right, so starting off on the Manager app, obviously you've got your fixtures in here, which have all been pulled through from Play Cricket, so you can then go through and manage them. If you're obviously a webmaster, you can see all the teams, see the fixtures for them under there. If you're a team admin, you'll only see one team. But these are all for the men's first team. So what we'll do is we'll click this Pitchero webinar here. You've then got a match information section. So you won't be able to edit too much of this because obviously it'll pull through from Play Cricket, but you can actually cancel, postpone, abandon fixtures on here. You can change the start time if needs be. You can add a location. So if you've got more than one ground, let's say, you could add various different ones in there. You can add a meet time. So the start time is 12:45. So we'll go, the meet time is actually going to be 11. And then instructions, meet at ground as normal. Nice and simple. Hit done. That'll then update that. You can see the availability in here if you want to. Before you do it, you can also prompt players for that date. So if you hit that prompt, it sends out a push notification to the members. And then obviously you can have a look through the availability as well. But what you can do on the team selection is obviously you've got the team selection option. Let's go into here. You'll then be able to see the availability set on the right hand side. All of these are obviously just shown as not set, but what they will show is a red X or a green tick if they're available. So green for available, red for not available. And then it's just a case for you as the admins to go through and just select the members. So we'll just go through and select a few of these. I'll get myself in here somewhere. The thing to note is obviously you can run filters on it. So you can run as to show people that are only available if needs be. Sorry, my phone it's just gone there, hasn't it? Brilliant. Bear with us one sec, as that seems to have gone off, which isn't ideal. Should be back on in 1 second. Brilliant. Let's take that out and go again. Okay. It seems that the software is letting me down currently. So just bear with me 1 second, guys, and I will try and get this sorted briefly and then crack on from where we just. Right, we've had some issues there, I'm afraid. My cable doesn't seem to want to cooperate. So what I will do is obviously, as we're not able to go through this fully, what I will do is when we send the recording round of this, we'll get some more footage of the apps in work and have some commentary over it. So probably just do like a 5-minute video of each covering things and get that included as well. So any questions you have on the apps, feel free to drop them in. I'm not going to be able to do a demo on them, unfortunately, as things have just seemed to have given up on me a little bit. But I can answer any questions you've got in the meantime. But yeah, my apologies for that, guys. So I'll just give it a minute or so and see if you've got any questions in general and go from there. So Sophie's asked any plans to add item limits to merchandise. Yeah, we're potentially looking at it. So it's potentially something that we may look to add down the line. But in the sort of next 6 to 12 months, it's not something that'll be there, but it could be something that comes down the line. So Jamie has asked, do league tables pull through from Play Cricket? Yeah, they do. So you'll get a league table that pulls through as well, as obviously the fixtures, results, scorecards, etc. Michelle has asked, can I demo setting up training sessions on the website? Yeah, of course I can. Nice and simple to do. So get that shared. Just move this. So we'll go into, that's not that one. We want neither of them. Want to go back, get into the Pitchero Sports admin. So setting up training is nice and simple. You can just go into Teams here. You've got training there, nice and easy. Click onto that. You can then add your sessions in. And then step one is choose who it's for. So we're just going to give it summer nets, let's call it. And then select the organizer. So the organizer is going to be me in this case. We'll add our teams in. So we're going to say it's for the men's first team and the ladies first and the men's seconds. So the senior teams. Location is just nets, let's put, and then you put a initial date on it. So let's just say it's going to start from next Tuesday, the 18th. Start time is going to be sorry, no, we're going to go 6:15, and then it's going to run till 8, let's say. And then you can choose whether it's going to repeat. So every week, day, 2 weeks, month, and then keep it on that day. So then you can choose it ends on or after. I'd say choose after, and then let's say like 15 sessions. Add a description, hit done, and then that's how you create them. Nice and simple. You can then see a list of them showing up in here month by month. You can see the availability, and then like you can on the apps, you can click into the session itself, and then actually mark who's attended. So nice and simple for you on that one, Michelle. So hopefully that answered that. Jackie has asked, Pitchero as part resolved the mandatory field issue on the registration form, i.e. date of birth. However, when can we get the other fields included in this, specifically emergency contact details? So what is it that you mean on that? If you mark it as mandatory, Jackie, it'll then be a mandatory field for the members to obviously have to include, dependent on what role they've got. If it's obviously, if you've got it as a player one, and then it'll only show up for the players, but if it's mandatory, marked as mandatory by yourselves, then it will then be a mandatory field. But if you're having issues with it, it's a contact support job. So they can potentially investigate it further if needs be. Simon said, we only play friendly matches, not in a league of competitions. Can we do anything to integrate with Play Cricket? The simple answer to that is unfortunately no, Simon. The integration only pulls through league fixtures, just the way it works. So basically, if you wanted to, you could potentially look into getting it set up as league fixtures by Play Cricket for the friendlies, and then it may pull through. But honestly, it's probably easier just to create a fixture by fixture on Pitchero than look to do it that way. Jackie, if you could get in touch with me directly, it's probably a conversation for not on a webinar. So yeah, if you just get in touch with me, you've got my email, then we can look to potentially arrange a call or something. Helen has asked, I'm just having a go with the manager app to see who's available to play an under 13s match, but it's pulling availability up for the whole club. Can you show me how to do it? So in the top right, when you're on the manager app, have you gone into a fixture specifically, or is it just as the availability on a whole? Because if you go into availability as a whole, it will then show you all the club, but then in the top right there's a little filter and you can then choose what team it's for. However, if it's for a specific fixture for that team, you will then be able to do the availability and it'll show you a list for that team for that date. I hope that makes sense, Helen. Right, we'll just give it another minute or so to see if anyone's got any further questions. But like I say, my apologies for the issues that we've had in terms of showing the apps, but we'll get something sent round when we send the recording of this over to you, just to cover that in full. Helen, what you sent over, just get in touch with me directly. It's w.dunkley@pitchero.com, and then we can potentially look to arrange a call rather than just going back and forth without being able to see what each other's seeing. So if you do that, we can then help with that, but probably not something I'll be able to box off on this one, I'm afraid. Right, as no further questions have come in, we'll call it a day on that. So obviously you guys will be sent a recording of this, and then like I say, also we'll include a little bit extra in terms of the apps. But yeah, any questions you've got, feel free to either contact support, which is support@pitchero.com, and put for the attention of Will, or get in touch with me directly if you've already got my email. And more than happy to help as and where I can throughout the season. And last thing to say is all the best for the upcoming season. Hopefully you all go undefeated and have a wonderful, wonderful summer. Cheers, guys.